Dodgers' hope is a journey to the World Series for the first time since this guy was leading him there in '88. Joe Davis or Hershiser. Alana Rizzo joins us in just a moment. Let's talk pitching. You're qualified to do that. Rich Hill starts for the Dodgers tonight. 37-year-old with an incredible journey throughout his career that we'll dive into. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for him to be consistent on the mound. He has struggled with consistency this spring, but in the 2-year journey where he has been awesome, now signed the nice deal with the Dodgers, he's bringing in new grip pressure, new arm angles, everything that he's learned. So I didn't expect him to have a great spring because he's got a lot of facets to his delivery to put together.
He's a Tommy John survivor. The other guy throwing tonight, Garrett Richards, has found a way so far to avoid Tommy John. He's gone through stem cell therapy where they inject the elbow with stem cells, and we'll get into that tonight. But pretty remarkable what he's done. That was last May. He was throwing last fall, and they say that he's already back to high 90s.
The ligament tear was not across the ligament. It was linear, so they thought with the injections and the rest, and he's made a marvelous comeback. The fastball still reaches 98 miles an hour, has abandoned the changeup, which he felt stressed the elbow, stays mostly fastball, curveball, slider, and I'll tell you what, the fastball's got life either way, the sink or the cut.
They hope that he can be the ace. The starting rotation not exactly impressive when you look 1 through 5. They need Richards to be back to the form before that elbow injury last spring. It's the Dodgers and the Angels from Anaheim on a gorgeous night for baseball, and we're glad you're with us. First pitch coming up. spring training to get it out of their system now before the regular season gets going on Monday. Strobe lights going. The same setup they have down in San Diego here in Anaheim. There you go. More effective, I guess, later in the year when it's darker earlier.
Should be a time limit on how long they can do this, because we have to hit first. That'd be tough to adjust for your eyes. Advantage home team and home pitcher.
It's Dave Roberts. It's a great article written this morning. I don't know if you saw it. Tim Brown from Yahoo.com sat down with Dave and talked to him about his father, Wayman, who, of course, a couple of weeks ago passed away. But a really good article. Be sure to look that up if you have a minute. From Tim Brown. He's a fantastic writer. And the Angels finally take the field. We're just about set to go here in Game 2 of this weekend's Freeway Series. And here is Dave Roberts' starting lineup. It's the same 9 in the same order as last night. Logan Forsythe, though, hops over to third base and bats leadoff. Then it's Andrew Tolles in left. Turner DHs. Gonzalez, Grandal, and Peterson in the middle of the order. Then it's Utley starting in second after DHing last night. Puig hitting 8th, and Kike Hernandez batting 9th. We talked about him off of the top. Garrett Richards, who's 27 years old. He was born in Riverside. Both of his parents grew up there. Grew up actually diehard Angels fans. The family moved to Oklahoma when Garrett was 5 years old. Stem cell treatment instead of Tommy John surgery. So far, so good.
They put a needle in your back, they take out some things there, and they shake it up and keep the good stuff, and then put it in your elbow, and hopefully it helps your ligament between the rest, the rehab, and the injection to the elbow. They think it really has worked. He has not had any problems since he went down in May, came back around instructional league, and is now ready to start the season. This is going to be his final tune-up. Boy, he can reach 97, 98 miles an hour. The breaking ball has a fastball that moves in 2 directions, the 2-seamer, the 4-seamer, but sometimes even his 2-seamer will cut, his 4-seamer will sink, so he really doesn't know where it's going, so he is very hard to catch.
He won 28 games, Oral, 2014 and 2015, once he became a full-time member of the rotation. It was really clicking when off to a good start again last year, but like you mentioned, in May, shut down with the tear in his elbow and the UCL. But the thing that made him unique and made him a candidate to avoid Tommy John was the fact that the tear was along the ligament as opposed to across it. And they're still not at the point where they're confident doing the stem cell treatment on those full tears. So here we go, Game 2 of the Freeway Series after the Angels took the opener 3-2 last night. And it begins with Logan Forsythe. Richards' first pitch to him is in there, and away we go. 97 on that game-opening fastball.
The Dodger lineup will have to turn it up a notch, get started a little earlier. That'll give Garrett Richards a bigger spray pattern to get away with.
Comes the 1-1, and Forsythe laid on it, fouls it off 1-2. And a big spring for Logan Forsythe in his first year with the Dodgers. Acquired in the trade this offseason from Tampa Bay. Straight up for Jose De Leon.
Absolutely amazing around the batting cage, around the locker room. To a man, all of the Dodgers are so impressed with Logan. I really believe coming over from Tampa Bay and a club that really doesn't have a chance to win other than maybe squeak in a lot of times on the wild card, that Logan is going to have a much better year here just from the fact that playing in a big market, having a chance to win a championship right from day one. And I think that little extra bit of concentration and pressure is really making him a better player.
Oh, look out. That one slipped out of Richards' hand. And thankfully Forsythe got out of the way. It's 2-2.
Curveball that gets away, 80 miles an hour, 17-mile-an-hour differential from the 97 he's been throwing with the fastball, and
Thank goodness that velocity was off of that pitch, or he wouldn't have had time to get out of the way.
You mentioned Forsythe being on a contender now. This is his 7th major league season, and he's hoping it's his first on a winning team. 6 major league seasons and below 500 all 6 years. There was 3 years in San Diego and then 3 years in Tampa Bay. Entering his 3rd year as an everyday player. Former utility man with the Padres. Waits on a payoff and pulls it on the ground to Cliff Pennington. 1 out. Beautiful night. Temperature in the low 60s. A little bit of a chill in the air as Andrew Toles gets ready to bat. Set to make his first opening day roster on Monday. Goes after the first pitch, strike 1. Figure it's about time he gets a decent number, right? Number 60 looks like he's headed into spring training or to the minors after this game, like you'd see in a minor leaguer. Happens to make a major league camp, but he broke in wearing 60. It's what was waiting in his locker when he arrived at Dodger Stadium last year, and he figured, why change it? Things went as well as they did for him in his first year. He's a single-digit guy typically, and I believe every single digit is at least retired or already accounted for by a current player on the roster. Sliding play by Jeffrey Marte, and a wide throw is one that can't be handled by Richards. So Toles aboard here with 1 out in the first.
It should be an error on the throw. Andrew would have been out if the throw is accurate. Right there, it just gets away and gets up and high, and boy, for a guy who's 6'6", you got to throw it really way too high to get it over Garrett Richards' head. But he has a little bit of a clank and a miss.
And you're right, is ruled an error on the first baseman Marte. Seen an error both nights from the Angels, and defense, like we talked about last night, is supposed to be a staple of this team. As Justin Turner readies for his first at bat. Angels coming off of their worst season of this century. Got to go back to '99 to find the last time they lost more than 88 games like they did last year. And one of the big focuses the front office this offseason was to go out and acquire players that are known for their defense. They had a Danny Espinosa from Washington, a shortstop by trade that'll play second for him. Cameron Maben, a center fielder that slides over to the less demanding left field. And Martin Maldonado, the catcher, one of the best arms in the game behind the plate. Maldonado lost that one in the lights, it looked like, but it's in the seats and it's 0-2.
And to turn that record around, you only got 6 starts out of Garrett Richards, so they're counting on his health. Also with Cameron Maben, who's out there in left field. But when you talk about the starting pitching and the bullpen and the closing, you've got to have some good starters that can go 6-7 innings for you and get you those W's and carry the staff. And that's what they're hoping for with Garrett Richards, to get their ace back.
The runner at first and 1 gone. Here's an 0-2 to Justin Turner. Maldonado sets it inside, and Richards misses low.
Justin Turner in the 3-hole and Andrew Toles in the 2-hole. Tomorrow, Dodger Stadium, as we go there, we'll see probably Corey Seager in the 2-hole. Dave Roberts talking about in his pregame strum about the philosophy of the lineup and getting guys near the top with larger on-base percentages, and then guys in the middle of the order. Of course, you want them to be run producers, but the key is also to get the guys that can produce runs with productive outs, not just home runs and doubles. and hitting for a high average, but making sure you get the guy in from third with less than 2 outs.
Turner lays off. The count evens. Playing about 10 minutes from where he grew up, Justin Turner. Even with the proximity here to Angel Stadium, he grew up a Dodger fan. Played his college ball just down the street as well at Cal State Fullerton. Good lead for Tolles. And on 2-2, Turner pulls it on the ground to Escobar. That is tailor-made to finish the inning. 5-4-3, a double play, and we go to the bottom of the first inning. Rich Hill takes it on the other side. The former Dodger catcher is now in his 18th season as the manager of the Angels, and here's his starting lineup tonight. He's got Yunel Escobar at the top in his second season in an Angels uniform. Then it's Calhoun and the MVP Mike Trout. Pujols bats cleanup. Jeffrey Marte making his first start of the weekend. And then the newly acquired Maben, same thing with Espinosa, same thing with Maldonado, all in their first seasons here in Anaheim against Rich Hill. 37 years old, out of Milton, Massachusetts, and the numbers this spring not good, but rarely are they for Rich Hill. His career spring training earned run average is .582, so don't put a ton of stock into the numbers there. Still, though, you'd like to see a better looking tune-up heading into the regular season.
I would like to see his mental outlook on his outing be better too. He's had a lot of frustration and some inconsistency, but he and Rick Honeycutt think they're both on the same page now, moving in the right direction. His last outing was on the backfields against the minor leaguers. 5 innings, 79 pitches, 10 punch-outs. So for him, he's trying to carry into this game his side works and that outing against the minor leaguers. Do it in the big stadium against the big league hitters. Find that consistency.
Ball on a strike on Escobar. Second best earned run average in the majors last year. Only Clayton Kershaw had a better ERA among pitchers that threw at least 100 innings. He made 20 starts. Of course, was limited some by the blisters that he had in his time early with the Dodgers. Had a groin strain earlier in the year too. When he was on the mound, there was nobody better.
Oh, Rich throws the breaking ball from multiple angles, adjusts his grip pressure, adjusts the force coming out of his back leg to change speeds on it. And you mentioned Clayton Kershaw as far as the best pitcher in the game over the last few years, and Rich Hill right on his heels. Clayton was his role model as far as changing his pitching style. Rich has always had a very good curveball. And when talking to people around the Boston organization, when Rich started to turn it around, it was about throwing more curveballs because that's his most effective pitch. And Clayton Kershaw throws a large amount of breaking balls, his being his slider. And at that time, Zach Greinke was throwing an awful lot of changeups. So Rich wanted to study that philosophy of some of the best in the game at that time.
Gets in the hands of Escobar for the first out. Yeah, the curveball has always been Rich's best pitch, but it was when he decided to make it his primary pitch. It had always been traditional, which is secondary to the fastball. But it was during that comeback where he latched down with the Red Sox a couple of years ago that he decided to make that philosophical change in the way that he used the curve, and now throws it more than 40% of the time. Nobody in baseball uses a curve more often than Rich Hill. Cole Calhoun, the batter, with the bases empty and one gone. Ball one. Hill learned that curveball from his older brother, who was a pitcher himself. His older brother Lloyd pitched at a Division III school and taught him how to throw it. There it is. It's outside, and it's 2-0.
And that command, not falling behind, is what he's looking for. No matter how good your stuff is, if you pitch behind in the count, it makes it awfully rough.
Calhoun turns his shoulder on a strike.
As a pitcher right there, Rich Hill would like to have the pitch prior be called a ball and the one before that be called a strike.
Why is that?
The lower one with better break is the one that's going to be more effective throughout the year than that hanger that got called a strike.
Left that one up as well. He reaches out his throwing hand to deflect it, and Utley makes a diving play. Huh. He is safe at first, but my goodness.
Well, first and foremost, because of the deflection off the barehand of Rich Hill, Chase Utley had to change his route angle, but in the midst of that was able to barehand and almost push the ball over there in time to Gonzalez to get an out. And no wasting time thinking about the last play. Let's think about how we're going to get two already. Chase Utley signaling to Rich Hill, I've got the bag.
So Calhoun is aboard, and here's Mike Trout. Won the MVP twice, including last season. He's been top 2 in MVP voting all 5 years in the majors. 25 years old. Hard to believe Trout's entering his 6th year now. At the same time, I guess it's hard to believe he's packed in as much as he has. And still just 25. On 1-0, he takes a strike.
Years ago, that'd be considered pitching backwards, you know, using the fastball as a ball to set up the breaking ball, but really using it to get back in the count. And Rich Hill will throw that breaking ball at any time.
There's Utley. There's one. Hernandez with a running throw that's late. Trout, one of the fastest runners in the game, beats it out. The Dodgers make it close. And 2 gone here in the first.
With all the shifting in baseball right now, you see where Kike Hernandez is. He's a mile from second base. There's no such thing as double play depth anymore. If you think the hitter is going to hit the ball to the hole, you guard for the out, and you sacrifice sometimes the ability to get a double play on what used to be a routine double play ball.
So the inning kept alive for Albert Pujols, who had a pair of walks in last night's 3-2 win for Anaheim. Strike one. Pujols 37 now. His 17th season in the majors, his 6th with the Angels, the first decade coming in St. Louis. One of the greatest decades in baseball history for an individual player. In his 11 years with St. Louis, he was an All-Star 9 times. He won 3 MVPs. He was runner-up 4 times. But the numbers have gone down steadily since his last MVP, 7 consecutive years in most categories. It's 1-1.
Statistics have gone down strictly not because of ability, but health.
Yeah.
And health is the quotient for ability, because it doesn't matter how much you have. If the knees are hurting, need to be repaired, the feet are hurting. It's hard to generate that power and the accuracy with the bat.
There goes Trout. A breaking ball, a strike, and no chance to get him. Picked a good one to take off on. It's 1-2 at the plate on Pujols.
Well, there's definitely speed on the base, as Mike Trout, with almost 3,000 at bats now, has only grounded into 39 double plays. We talked about the Dodger defense and the shifting. Why play double play depth when the guy never grounds into it?
Trout at second. 2 gone in the first. And Hill to Pujols for the 1-2. Curve cuts to the zone for strike 3. Pujols didn't like it, but it looked like it caught a pretty good chunk of the plate.
Another one of those hangers that get called for a strike. Rich Hill likes the result, but he does not like the pitch, I'm sure, and Albert doesn't like it either.
Joe, Orel, and Alana back here in Anaheim. Middle third of the Dodge order coming up against Garrett Richards here in the second. That means Adrian Gonzalez. But a base hit last night. And a tailing fastball, ball 1. Fourteenth major league season for the former first overall pick. Ball and a strike. He's 34 now. This will be his 6th season in a Dodger uniform, and that makes it his longest stint with any one team. It had been with San Diego. his hometown where he played 5 seasons with the Padres. Gonzalez lifts a fly ball to right. Calhoun shy of the track, has it. And here's Grandal. Former Padre himself. Spent 3 seasons there. Came to the Dodgers in 2015, and then that breakout season last year with 27 homers. More than any other catcher in the majors. Swings at a pitch that disappears. Strike 1.
Yasmani still has that boyhood idol kind of feeling when he watches old baseball. He likes to watch old films of like home run hitters, Bonds and McGuire and those guys, and it's hard for me to even say old about those guys, but he'll go home and watch ESPN Classic or different videos that were put out about greatest home runs ever hit and longest home runs ever hit, and he watches it over and over and over again and studies the swings. And tell him, you know, today around the batting cage, he's like, you know, I think someday maybe I can hit one that far.
And a hanger is called strike 3.
We had some high breaking balls called for strikes for Rich Hill, and now one for Garrett Richards. Boy, that one is up. See that side angle and the ball's going through the D and Dodgers. It's not the strike zone in the big leagues.
Two up and 2 down. Jock Peterson now. And he lays off a pitch that cuts inside. Ball 1. Five homers this spring to lead the club. Has a chance to be the first Dodger with 3 25 home run seasons before his age 26 season. He's right now one of only 2 guys in the franchise's history that's had multiple 25 home run seasons before age 25. The other guy, Duke Snider, 1950, 1951.
Very good company.
One and 2.
Both center fielders. You think that would come more from a corner position?
Yeah.
Left fielder, right fielder, first baseman, or third baseman. I think Jock, as much as last year was kind of a breakout year as far as consistency, especially in the second half, I think he really has a chance to capitalize on that and multiply on it again this year. Looks so much better this spring. Well, they talk about that look. You get a look in your eye. You can see it in somebody else when they're tough or when they're composed. Jock's got that look about him.
Got a piece of it, stays alive.
That's huge right there. Just that piece, that all the work that he's put in to refine his swing and to refine his approach, to still be in the batter's box right now. As much as that swing looked like a flail, he still found a way to get a piece of it because he was more balanced and more on that pitch than he ever was before just spinning into the ground and swinging and missing.
Going outside at another 2-2, and Peterson hits it on the ground, back up the box for a base hit. A 2-out single for Jock Peterson. One pitch after he barely stayed alive, able to cash in with a base hit.
You find 10 to 15 to 20 of these, and your average will go up 20 points at the end of the year by finding just 20 of these squeakers from the fact that he stayed alive and was able to put the ball in play.
It keeps the inning going for Chase Utley. 1-0. Born in Pasadena and then raised in Long Beach. Not too far from here to Poly High School. Like Justin Turner, grew up in Southern California as a Dodger fan. In fact, Utley was at Game 2 of the '88 World Series as a 9-year-old sitting in the stands. 1-1. And then the Dodgers originally drafted Chase Utley out of high school and decided to go to UCLA instead. Has vivid memories, though, of when they drafted him, going to Dodger Stadium, undecided at that point, and meeting Tommy Lasorda. On 1-1, he takes it low to move ahead in the count. 2-1.
Man on first, 2 out. Chase looking for a ball to drive. Now got himself into a hitter's count here, 2-1. He knows he needs to find a gap or a ball over the fence to score Jock.
Three and 1.
Before Garrett went down with his elbow problems last May and only getting 6 starts, his command was something that was off, and Scout says he has come back even though the health has been a major positive. They're watching him to see, can he throw the ball over the plate? And he is going to be limited on a pitch count this year to somewhere right around 100, coming back from this injury. Few numbers they're going to watch out for. Garrett watching out for the number 85% kind of effort with his delivery and torquing that arm, and also trying to help the command. And 100 is going to be the hard and fast number to get him out of a game as far as number of pitches. And then 200, they're going to try and keep his innings right at 200 or below.
Peterson will take off on this 3-2. Here it comes. And there it goes to second for Espinosa. Dodgers get a 2-out base hit from Peterson, but nothing more to the bottom of the second in a scoreless game. Dodgers game Wednesday, April 5th against the Padres. That's this Wednesday. First 40,000 fans in attendance get a replica Fernando jersey from Bank of America. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. It's only fitting that they're giving that giveaway early on in the season. There's a strike from Rich Hill to Jeffrey Marte. With the way that he began that 81 season, his first 8 starts, 8-0, 5 shutouts, gave up 4 earned runs, 9 innings in all 8 games on his first 8 starts in that 81 season.
1981, I was in Double-A. The year before in '80, Fernando was in Double-A in San Antonio, Texas. We were teammates. Our manager was Ducky LeJohn.
What a name.
Great baseball name.
Yeah.
And we were so tied into Fernando Mania and him making it to the All-Star game and everything that happened in '81. On nights he would pitch, there would be a little 12-inch television down by Ducky LeJohn at the end of the bench, and we watched Fernando starts in Double-A in the dugout as we were playing our Double-A game. Everyone was so connected to Fernando and Fernando Mania throughout the organization, but especially that Double-A club with all his teammates and our manager.
That was Double-A where? What?
San Antonio, Texas. Yep.
Fernando Mania stretched well beyond Chavez Ravine. That little clubhouse in San Antonio. Huh? Gonzalez catches a pop-up from Marte for the first out of the second.
And what Fernando did for the Los Angeles community in drawing fans to Dodger games was unprecedented. His starts were 25,000 more people than normal. So if the average crowd at the beginning of the year when school was in was normally, let's say, 22,000 or so, Fernando's nights when he pitched would be sellouts.
Here's Cameron Maben. The only reason that he got the opening day nod that year was because of an injury. Jerry Royce was supposed to start opening day in '81, but re-aggravated a calf injury he'd been dealing with. So hey, Fernando, I know you're only 20, but you're going to start opening day for the Dodgers. And 8 starts later, he had 8 wins. Two and one on Maben. Now Fernando signed in 1979. Went 4-5 in the Cal League. So it wasn't like he was a slam dunk right away. Dodgers knew that he needed another pitch that he could work with. So going into that 1980 season, a year after he was 4-5 in A-ball, a year before Fernando Mania, that's when they worked on developing the screwball with him, which is what changed the path of his career. Maben's speed tests Forsythe, who's there to make the play. After a twirl at third base, Forsythe still gets him.
Rich Hill wandered away from the mound to thank Forsythe for that play. Outstanding range to his left, the spin move to get the balance, keeping the momentum directed towards first base. Nice little stretch by Adrian Gonzalez, and the passion of Rich Hill with a big thank you. Bobby Castillo was the guy who taught Fernando the screwball. Right-handed guy who taught a lefty.
It's a strike on Espinosa. And Bobby Castillo's story, a really interesting one, and that the reason he was discovered was because he struck out the scout that eventually signed him in an amateur game in Los Angeles. That's the legendary Mike Brito. He said, my goodness, who's this guy? And wound up signing Castillo, and his biggest contribution, you could argue, was teaching Fernando that pitch. When you see what Fernando did in '81, and like you mentioned, did for the Dodger franchise, big picture. 2-1.
And Fernando was such a great teammate, still is a teammate of ours on the Spanish side of broadcasting, but as far as a teammate that just had a great sense of humor, a great way about him throughout the day, from stretching to the pitcher's batting practice to watching his side works and then being around during the game, and his famous lasso
down the left field line, and Espinosa rattles it into the corner. It gets by Tolles. Espinosa keeps on running to third. To double, and then he advances to third on a Tolles there.
Breaking ball down and in. Espinosa does a good job keeping that fair, just barely by about 3-4 feet. And Andrew Tolles, who has been told and is told himself that he needs to clean up his left field play, gets a rough carom between the padding and the cement down there and gets around on him. But last night had one clank off his thumb as he checks the positioning card of where he needs to be for this hitter.
There's the lead man and the genius behind those defensive positionings. Chris Woodward. Cliff Pennington, the batter, buzzed with ball one. Rich Hill's 1-0. 1-1. A good spring for Cliff Pennington, who started it short in both games this weekend. That's because their regular shortstop, Andrelton Simmons, dealing with some back tightness. Both star shortstops due to debut in this series tomorrow. Corey Seager for the Dodgers, Andrelton Simmons for the Angels as the series shifts up to Dodger Stadium. Curveball through the back door, and Hill's ahead 1-2. One-two to Cliff Pennington, and a curve just misses. 2-2.
It's that backdoor curveball Rich Hill's trying to perfect here at the end of spring. Doing a little bit more break here in Los Angeles compared to Arizona. Just would like it to break a little bit more and catch that outside corner to righties.
Curve again, fouled again. Hill trying to pitch around this little jam in the second after the 2-out double from Espinosa. Another 2-2. Went to the fastball and barely missed. Full count. .37 pitches deep for Hill. The command still not what we saw from Hill down the stretch last year in his 6 starts with the Dodgers after they acquired him from Oakland.
A lot easier to get the intensity when you're in the big league ballparks now. I know it's still an exhibition game, but this is another level of energy and concentration. Combination of a lot of things between the arena you're in, the proximity to opening day and your first outing, and the pressure of not wanting to be embarrassed in front of the larger amount of fans here and your family. You just, all of a sudden, it's a lot easier to concentrate pitch to pitch.
Another 3-2. Oh, it misses.
He giveth and he taketh away, and that one he took away from him. That's one that's been called a strike. That was better for me than the one that Albert had called against him. Yasmani thought it was a strike the whole way because he didn't even really try to frame it or try and bring it down. He's like, okay, that's right there. Just caught it right there almost in the center of the plate.
Both sides have had some issues with Ben Mays so far, the home plate umpire. Martin Maldonado with men at the corners and 2 out. Lays down a bunt. Forsythe bare hands and gets Rich Hill out of the inning. Twice Forsythe makes nice defensive plays at third. And Hill keeps the Angels off of the board. No score through 2 in Anaheim. Third inning, and we welcome inside our broadcast booth Joe Davis and Orel Hershiser. Rich Hill going for the Dodgers tonight in his final tune-up for the regular season. Not his best so far, but what have you seen?
Not real sharp. You know, the 40 pitches, 25 strikes, but really a lot of deep counts, and he's not getting ahead of hitters either. Less than 50% of first pitch strikes against batters, so he's getting there. He's getting closer. I think he would like to be more efficient.
Garrett Richards, meanwhile, has allowed 1 Dodger hit through 2 innings. Has 1 strikeout. And faces Yasiel Puig to get the 3rd going. Puig 0 for 3 last night. Spring numbers not eye-popping for Puig. He's continued to put in extra work with hitting coach Turner Ward. And Turner pleased with where he's at entering the season. Hitting 8th in both games so far this weekend. And again, the lineup not exactly what you're going to see during the regular season because Seager's not in it. Quickly 3-0. The trickle down from that means that you can't be certain about what you see, although Dave Roberts did say during his media scrum today that he can see Puig hitting in the bottom part of the order, whether that's 7th or 8th. And he's got a 4-pitch walk to start this inning.
Garrett Richards coming into this inning had thrown first pitch strikes to 5 out of the 7 hitters he had faced. Right there loses a little command. I tell you what, when you come back from any kind of arm trouble, feels like the caliber of your bullets every inning or every outing at times changes, and you have to find kind of a new place to aim at, a new rhythm to feel in your body.
Kike Hernandez strike one. Scored the first run last night. It was the only run through 6 innings. The Angels didn't have a hit through 6. But then in the 7th against Brandon Morrow, started to collect a few and got their 3 runs and a 3-2 Angels win. And 0-1 from Garrett Richards. And a pop-up. Maldonado. 1 out. Time now for our Carl's Cam slow-mo instant replay, going back to a couple of nice plays from Forsythe, playing at third tonight.
Playing at third, showing his flexibility and his abilities to do it with the glove, with the arm, and with the bare hand. We're trying to steal a run on him with a little surprise bunt hit attempt, but he made it an attempt for sure.
And because Chase Utley is still on this roster and Dave Roberts is going to have to find ways to get him in the lineup, that means it is a good thing that Logan Forsythe can play third and can play first if he needs to. So that opens up a spot in the lineup for Utley. If you want to keep Forsythe in there. Backs up on him, strike one. And that's how he stuck early on in his time in the majors, was an ability to play all over. He's made 35 starts in his career at third base. He started 15 games at first base. He started 12 at short, 11 in the outfield. Mostly though at second, which is where he'll be for the Dodgers most of the time. 1 ball and 1 strike.
The culture around baseball is really starting to change within players' attitudes towards flexibility and positioning, flexibility in where you hit in the order. Dave Roberts talked about it in his scrum today about, first and foremost, player just wants to see his name in the lineup. And after that, he sees where he's hitting, and then after that, he sees where he's playing. But they're getting more and more used to it, this generation of players, of knowing just being in the lineup is the first battle and all really they want.
Caught a piece of the bat, 1 and 2.
In days gone by, you see yourself in the lineup, but you see yourself in the 7 hole and you're used to hitting in the 2 hole or the 5 hole. A lot of players would march into the manager's office and say, hey, what's up? And you'd have an issue not only there with the player, but then you'd have a fire to put out with the media. And the media would bounce between the manager and the player and try and get comments to start stirring it up. But in today's game, players are getting looser and looser of holding on certain parts of the order and certain positions.
Richard strikes out Forsythe, and 2 gone in the 3rd. It's a reflection of the chemistry in that clubhouse too, and the trust in that clubhouse. Andy McCullough wrote a really nice article today about that dynamic. Talked to several Dodgers, talked to Dave Roberts, who said that his proudest thing is, in his very short time as manager, is when guys tell him that they love playing for him, or when they show him that they love playing for him. And when you see guys turning down more money to stay. Andrew Toles drives one down the left field line, but it's foul.
I know it's the wrong example, but Dave Roberts' bedside manner is right up there, and his nickname is Doc. So I got an inside look at that this year, getting a chance to put the uniform on during spring training in Arizona there, and tell you what, he has a great way about him with everyone. It's really hard to believe that he can maintain it throughout the whole day, the energy and the friendliness and the concentration on the team, but he does.
How about at his media scrum today, which is where manager sits in the dugout, a couple dozen reporters surround him and fire questions at him. Today, the first question was asked by Dave Roberts to a reporter, how's your father doing? And that's Dave Roberts.
And he wasn't prepped on that either. We walked down the whole tunnel from the Dodger locker room where his office is, through the whole tunnel, down out into the Dodger dugout, and that was all on his own.
Runner takes off, throw down, and Toles had already swung through strike 3 to finish the inning. So we go to the bottom of the third here in Anaheim, and the Dodgers and Angels scoreless. Angels and Dodgers scoreless as we go to the bottom of the third. Rich Hill goes back to the mound, able to keep the Angels off the board last inning despite the 2-out double. Some great defense from Logan Forsythe at third. Second time through the order now. Here's Yunel Escobar. Rich Hill, 37, entering his 13th major league season. This is his 8th different major league team. Debut came with the Cubs in 2005 and had a really nice run in Chicago early on in his career. Then ran into some injury problems. Escobar in the air to right. There's Puig. There's the first out. Went from the Cubs to the Orioles. He had shoulder surgery while he was in Baltimore. After that, went to Boston. That's where the Tommy John happened. Came back from that, went to Cleveland. Horrible numbers for the Indians. Then he had a 2-game stint here with the Angels. In his 2 games in an Angels uniform, he faced 4 batters, walked 3 of them, gave up a hit. 1 run, no outs recorded in his time with the Angels. Cole Calhoun with the bases empty. Curve, strike 1. After his 2 games with the Angels, then things started to get better for Hill. He went to the Yankees, posted some good numbers out of the bullpen, but couldn't find a full-time major league job the following season. So took a minor league deal with the Nationals where he was pitching as a reliever, still wanted a chance to be a starter. They told him it wouldn't be with them, and really no team wanted to bite at that point, and a guy who hadn't made a major league start in 6 years. So what did he do? Went to independent ball. He was really good there for 2 starts. So the Red Sox again signed him to a minor league contract. Dazzled in a couple of starts in the minor league system, and then because of a freak injury in the majors, when one of the Red Sox starters got hit in the head by an errant throw during batting practice, they needed a guy in September. Rich Hill was that guy and was good enough in that stint to earn a deal with the A's last year. 2-2. And now here he is, starting year 1 of a life-changing contract. Signed the largest deal this offseason for any free agent starter. Hill's 2-2. Full count on Calhoun.
Through all that, never thought about quitting. And what support he got from his wife and kids and family to let him keep chasing the dream.
Curveball smacked to second. Chase Utley gets Calhoun for out number 2. It's at a Chamber of Commerce meeting back home in Massachusetts this offseason, and Rich was honored as the role model of the year there. Gave an acceptance speech. Called himself a role model for failure. And said his first piece of advice that he'd give is to go out and fail. But fail at something you have passion for. And he said in that speech, without struggle, there's no progress. Without failure, there's no progress. First one to Mike Trout. Strike. Figure there's an extra level of appreciation for his spot atop that mound in a big league stadium because of what he's been through. 1-1.
Full commitment to every pitch, full passion to every pitch, and a positive outlook about what could happen.
Trout down the right field line, and Puig casually runs under it to complete a 1-2-3 inning for Rich Hill. On to the middle third here in Anaheim. No score.
Receive a $2,500 college scholarship. Go to SpectrumChamp.com now for more information. $25,000.
About it.
That's awesome.
Garrett Richards back to the mound for the Angels in a scoreless game. Justin Turner to lead off the inning, then Gonzalez, then Grandal. Strike one. So stem cell treatment at this point has saved Garrett Richards' career. And you mentioned a little bit of detail of what exactly that is, but they take bone marrow, they take the stem cells out of the bone marrow and then inject it into his elbow. The science behind it, I guess, is that the proteins in the stem cells help to regrow the damaged tissue in the elbow. So it's hard to do it, and I think at this point impossible to do it with where the science is at this point if it's completely torn. But if it's just a tear along the ligament like it was with Richards, they're able to do the stem cell and at least give it a chance. Speaking of having a chance, that ball has plenty. Justin Turner starts the scoring with a home run.
He has looked good all spring, elevating the ball more over the last couple years, which has brought the home run totals up. And Justin Turner just could be, pound for pound, the best sign of the whole winter for the Dodgers and throughout baseball. He looks primed for a big year.
Gonzalez now off the end of the bat, and Maben has this one for the first out. So Turner with his 4th home run of the spring, that average right around 400. And the Dodgers with a 1-0 lead here in the 4th.
There's not a lot of what people consider pretty right-handed swings, but Justin Turner has one of them. Usually the majestic, beautiful swings come from the left side. Boy, with his leg kick and his rhythm, and then once that swing comes through in the arc, it's gorgeous.
Grandal softly to Espinosa. Yeah, you know what is gorgeous is it's the snapshots of his follow-through, that long one-handed follow-through. You're right, it almost looks like a left-handed swing. They tend to be extra beautiful, and the follow-through on his right-handed swing equal to that. That is not the same swing that he's always had. This is what he's reinvented himself to be.
There is a little exclamation point with that one-handed follow-through with the bat in the air.
Justin hit 8 home runs in 4 seasons in college. 8 home runs in 4 seasons. His first 6 seasons in the majors hit 16. Other than 2 on Jock. So 15 in his first 6 pro years. 16 in 2015. 27 last year. Overhauled his swing, overhauled his approach. Marlon Byrd, a longtime big leaguer, helped him. A guy named Doug Latta, who's a swing coach, in the same offseason. They worked together 5 days a week for 4 months in a row in a batting cage in Chatsworth. And a totally different approach now with him elevating the ball and making a focus on getting the ball in the air. Remembers one of his first rounds of BP the following spring after completely changing things. Hit 6 consecutive home runs in a round of batting practice, something he'd never done before. One of his teammates said, "What are you doing? That's not your game." And it kind of jarred him. He told his agent he was fired up about it. "Look, I just hit 6 home runs in a row in a BP session, and the first thing somebody can think of is that ain't you." But he's proven in the years since that it now is. Peterson's worked it full, and Richards ready for a 3-2. On the ground is short, and Cliff Pennington throws him out to finish the inning. But Justin Turner's home run has the Dodgers in front. A long shot to left just down the road from where he grew up. It's 1-0 middle 4. Bottom of the fourth starts with ball one and a curve from Rich Hill to Albert Pujols. Former NL Central foes. Hill with the Cubs, Pujols with the Cardinals. Off the end of the bat, and that's fair. And Pujols will settle for a single, not daring Tess Puig, who's become a friend of his in recent years. Pujols has taken Yasiel under his wing, seeing the potential that he has. That's one of those where you think you've hit the heck out of it. Where did I pull it? Oh, no. I'll take it.
He and Adrian laughing about it down there. He was looking to left field. The ball ended up down the right field line. And we'll have a little fun here in the game.
Now Jeffrey Marte, who's set to make the opening day roster thanks to the injury to Luis Valbuena. The Angels acquired this offseason from the Astros. Marte, a former Tiger. One and one. Fly ball to left, sends Tolles on the move to the track, and he reaches up and makes the catch. Couple of misplays in left so far this weekend, but shows off some of the reason they're confident he can stick out there.
He has shown great range throughout the whole spring, and since he's been a big leaguer, and the ball in the air doesn't give as much trouble as really the ball on the ground. The boots have been on ground balls. Rich Hill appreciates the capture in the air.
With one out, it's Cameron Maybin. Another former Tiger. Twice. Tigers drafted him, the 10th overall pick 12 years ago now. Made his debut in the majors when he was just 20. He was the youngest player in the American League when he broke in. His career slowed by injuries, wrist injuries, knee injuries. From Detroit to Florida to San Diego to Atlanta, back to Detroit, and now Anaheim. Big old bounce. Gonzalez waits for it to come down and shovels late to Hill. How much you can do there?
Oh, this ball is just chopped. Boy, it is way up there. And with Maybin's speed, there really is no contest. Maybin didn't even have to run full out to beat that one out.
Two on with one out, and it's Danny Espinosa. We mentioned a couple of other local products in this freeway series. Espinosa's one of them. Grew up just a few minutes from here. In fact, his current home, the house that he was living in the offseason when he was playing with the Nationals, 3 miles from here. Looks at a curve that wraps around the plate, ball one. So he went from the lowest of lows, basically being shown the door by the Nationals after they acquired Adam Eaton, which meant that Trey Turner was moving in to take his spot at short, to ecstatic, in his words, to be coming home. Place that he grew up coming to games. His family had season tickets to Angels games. And he's assured of an everyday role here. Had he stayed on with the Nationals, that wasn't going to be the case.
Yasmani and Rich Hill having trouble getting on the same page right here. And this is something that will happen in the regular season. This just isn't spring training growing pains. Sometimes what feels good in your hand is completely different than what looks good on the scouting report. And confidence in a pitch in a situation here with runners in scoring position is sometimes more important than following that exact scouting report. Rich Hill coming out of his minor league outing when his last outing where he went 5 innings through 79 pitches, struck out 10. He talked about pitch conviction, that the mechanics were starting to feel better. He was feeling more consistent with the mechanics, which then gave him more conviction on each pitch. And that's what with pitchers will tell you will give them the finish on a pitch, where it has that late bite, because you were able to stay with your mechanics and you accelerate through the ball.
It scatters the feet of Espinosa. Good stop, Grandal.
On the flip side of that idea, when you look out at a pitcher and you see a guy and you hear a coach say, I think he's aiming the ball, they're almost getting to their release point and their arm is decelling instead of accelerating and throwing through it. And so when you accelerate into release, you spin the ball faster, and then it gives it later and sharper movement at the end, where compared to aiming it, you just kind of push it and there's less spin on the ball, and then the ball comes out flat.
Two and two.
He's grinding out there. He's upset with himself, shaking his head, trying to find it right now. 40 pitches to get through 2 innings. Got his pitch count in order in the 3rd, but now he's struggling again in the 4th.
Hill and Grandal having more problems getting on the same page here.
Same issue. What feels good in his hand, what he wants to do to execute here, and he really is treating this like a regular season game. He's got all zeros on the board, but he's grinding it out to keep it that way.
Two on with 1 out in the 4th, and a 2-2 to Danny Espinosa. And a curve is inside, full count. Hands on his hips is Hill.
Really hard to figure out how that did not cross the plate. The height is perfect. Yasmani catches it what looks like it's inside, but remember that ball is being thrown where it's breaking across that plate. Especially from a left-hander.
That one's in there. Right down the chute for strike 3.
Well, we've seen a few of these tonight where Rich Hill gets a take as Dave Roberts going to take him out of the game. But tonight, Rich Hill only got 2 swings and misses. But a lot of the pitches that finished off batters were taken as it deceived them.
Luis Avilan replaces Hill. 65 pitches into this final tune-up for the regular season. Back in a moment. Opening day, you can purchase your 2017 season tickets now and be here or be at Dodger Stadium on Monday. Enjoy exclusive benefits and great savings starting as low as $13 a game, or you can have greater flexibility. Enjoy exciting matchups and promo nights by purchasing a mini plan. Dodgers.com/season tickets. Back-to-back nights for Luis Avilan, which is on purpose. Get him tuned up for the regular season to be able to go on back-to-back nights is one of the key pieces of this pen. And here it's runners at first and second with 2 out. And Cliff Pennington. This will be the 4th batter that he's faced in this series. All 4 of them right-handed. And that too, no mistake. He was harder on right-handers than he was on lefties last year.
Went an inning last night, 11 pitches, 7 strikes, and really looked sharp.
Pennington flies it to center. And Avilan gets the job done, straining a pair and closing the book on Rich Hill to the 5th inning. Dodgers up 1-0. As we start the 5th inning. Split last year between Atlanta and the Dodgers. Remember, the Dodgers acquired him when Clayton Kershaw went down, and there was a stretch there where Bud was a really important piece of what the Dodgers were doing.
Well, they needed innings, and they needed high-quality innings, and at the time, Bud was the best available acquisition. It was a godsend for the Dodgers, the way he started off. Kind of tailed off at the end of the season, ended up signing here with the Angels. Dodgers were not interested over the winter. But Bud will compete. His cut fastball was the thing that kind of turned his career around last year, where his stats got better and better, giving him a chance to get left-handers out.
This will be his 9th major league season with his 6th different team and his 5th team in the last 2 years. Houston, where he was an ace, then Baltimore, then San Diego, then Atlanta, then the Dodgers, now the Angels. He gets the bottom third of the Dodger order. It's Utley, Puig, and Hernandez in a 1-0 game, with the lone run coming on Justin Turner's solo homer last inning. A new battery made as well. Carlos Perez in for Martin Maldonado behind the dish. Chase Utley looks at strike 1. 1-1. Sonoris will pitch out of the bullpen for the Angels this year. His rotation just now is finally taken shape. They were the last of the 30 teams to announce an opening day pitcher. It'll be Ricky Nolasco, starting on Monday against Oakland. Matt Shoemaker will start game 2, coming back from getting hit in the head with that line drive last year. And Garrett Richards, who went tonight, scheduled for game 3. 4-starter Tyler Skaggs. He's a guy who's made only 10 starts the last 2 years. Tommy John surgery. And the 5-starter Jesse Chavez. Utley leading off the 5th by striking out.
Bud Norris abandoning the windup since he's going to be in the Angel bullpen here. He's always had the ability to throw the ball hard and bend it here and there. It's been more about location when he gets cold.
His first one to Puig. Bounced over the mound. They had him positioned well. That's Espinoza. That's a wide throw, and Puig's aboard. Second error of the night, 3rd of the series for Anaheim.
Routine play right there up the middle. Espinoza just gets that ball away from himself and just kind of tails it. Yasiel running hard. Made the error count.
And so a man at first with 1 gone for Hernandez. It came down to Kike Hernandez or Chris Taylor for the utility infielder spot, and Hernandez won it largely because of his ability to play center. Chris Taylor was one of the best hitters in the Cactus League this spring, but just not enough experience in the outfield, and they did use him some in the outfield during spring training. But he's not played there in a long time on a consistent basis, so we're talking back to his childhood. And you're, of course, comfortable with Hernandez in center. Goes back to what you were talking about, versatility being such a huge thing on this opening day roster.
It was a lot closer than it should have been. Yasiel had a good break back there to first base, diving back, but he stayed in the air for a long time instead of getting down on the ground away from where the tag is. Look how high he is, where the shoulder is still about 1.5 feet off the ground as he's reaching for the bag. With Kike, the organization has shown a lot of confidence in his potential because the stats have not, and the production have not been there. But the glove has carried him, and his consistent ability to be able to come off the bench at any time and play almost any position has really helped him win the job. But there is so much potential in the bat. In batting practice, you know, the power hitters on the team, the ball has a different sound when it comes off the bat, and Kike not known for his power, but he has that kind of bat speed where he can create that sound. Wow. Yasiel dancing off the bag and dancing back to the bag with a little extra step right there.
Oh. They said that Marte had pushed him off. I don't know if that was necessarily the case.
Jerry Davis inventing a signal.
Yeah. Pass interference on the defense. Norris home with a 2-0. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Great secondary lead from Puig that time, drawing the attention of Perez. Got everybody's attention at this point. This time he runs on ball 4, and perhaps it's no mistake that with Puig over there drawing the attention of Norris, he delivers 4 balls in a row to Hernandez.
Yasiel making himself a pest, even running on a 3-0 count, but Norris paying some attention. Those balls are there, and now you've got a professional hitter coming up in Logan Forsythe, with the Dodgers looking to extend this lead.
Two on, 1 out, 5th inning. Bud Norris to Logan Forsythe. 5 consecutive balls.
You can't be afraid of the barrel to bat. You've got to be able to throw strikes and get it in there. Bud Norris, a veteran that understands that completely. Had a lot of conversations with him on the Dodger bus and the travel as we traveled around to the different cities. He knows pitching inside and out, but you got to take it out there on the mound and execute it.
Ball 6. Out of Cal Poly, Bud Norris, really good athlete in high school. He was a quarterback on the football team. He was a third baseman and an outfielder mostly at Cal Poly early on before he focused on pitching. Trying to find the zone again, and on 2-0 does.
Pitcher's pitch right there. Logan Forsythe, 2-0 count with a guy who's struggling, either build the count to 3-0 or really keyhole him, and that wasn't what he was looking for. Something low and away on the black. But right now he's got him timed up, and since he proved that he can throw a strike, the bat might be moving on this one if it's a strike.
3 balls and a strike, and a good spot for Forsythe to sit in here.
You can cheat a little bit right here. You can sit dead rat and cheat and try and get the head out on one. If he happens to throw you a slider, you swing and miss at it. You still have a 3-2 count with 1 out. Runners could be going there to stay out of the double play. So a lot of offense advantage right here for the Dodgers.
Logan Forsythe, who had a career high 20 homers last year, waits on a 3-1 and had a fastball to drill and fouled it back. Full count.
As well as Logan is swinging the bat this spring and understands the strike zone, I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Roberts starts the runners. Dodgers have been very aggressive on the base paths this spring. One of the focuses of the team in general is to kind of push the back of the envelope as far as what you can do on the bases. So if you know the end result, you know where you can play during the regular season.
Not running. We'll do it again. Give him another chance. Dodgers up by a run on a Turner home run. First and second, 1 gone in the 5th, and another 3-2 to Logan Forsythe. On the ground to third, Escobar gets 1 there, and that is all. So 2 outs for Andrew Toles.
Andrew will not wait around if he gets a pitch he can hit. He is very aggressive when the ball's in the strike zone.
On the corner for a strike.
You see a hitter like Andrew Toles work his hands as the Bud Norris comes into his stretch. You wonder, what is he doing? What is he doing? Well, that's just to create some rhythm. That's kind of his trigger to find his swing. Looks very aggressive with that hand bobbing. But then as he goes to load, they calm down.
That's a swing and a stance that he tweaked quite a bit this offseason. Back home in Atlanta with his dad throwing him BP in a cage at Georgia Tech. Got rid of, remember back to last year, that big old step. Trying to be more balanced, especially against off-speed stuff. It's hard with those big leg kicks and those big steps to have the right kind of timing sometimes on the off-speed. 2 on, 2 out, and an 0-2. And Toles bounces it to Escobar to finish the inning. Well, Norris wiggles his way out, and after 4.5, the Dodgers lead the Angels 1-0. Down to Alana, who's with Rich Hill.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. Rich, they always tell you in Journalism 101 never to ask a player how he feels. You were a bona fide feel guy, so how did this one feel for you?
Oh, well, it was the best outing of spring, and like I said before, everything has been going in the right direction, and tonight was another, step in the right direction.
What makes it the best outing for you? What are you looking for when you take the hill?
Just the consistency of the pitch coming out of my hand, really. The curveball was very consistent coming out of my hand, both breaking balls, and, the fastball came out of my hand well. It didn't come out out as crisp as I would have liked to, but you know, we stuck with the breaking balls and were able to get ahead and you know, pitch a little bit backwards, and you know, I was pleased with the way the breaking ball was coming out of my hand.
One of the bars at this level is certainly the defense playing behind you. First of all, Logan Forsythe, and then Andrew Tolles kind of atoning of the misplay on the ground ball with that nice running catch.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, it's a little bit of a preview of what everybody's going to see this year at Dodger Stadium, and anybody that we play, is that we have a really, really good defense, and it's going to be a lot of fun to pitch with those guys behind us.
Speaking of Dodger Stadium, that will be the next time that you do pitch, and of course the spring training numbers in your history a bit skewed because you joked and said you weren't a morning person. How excited are you for this to be over and do this for real?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's I think getting into a big league stadium, you know, and playing in front of a crowd like we had here tonight, and you know, it gets you going, and you know, you step your game up. Not saying that it isn't stepped up in spring training, but you know, for me tonight, it was just really a culmination of spring training, and seeing the consistency of the breaking ball come out of my hand tonight is part of the work that you have to put in during spring training. You know, you start off and it's not where it is, where you want it to be right away, but you continue to, you know, pursue and keep putting in the time, putting in the work, and it will come around.
The final tune-up of spring is in the books for you. We look forward to seeing you pitch in Game 3. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Alon.
All right, guys.
All right. It is so easy to root for Rich Hill. We're not in the business of rooting and you know what we do in our jobs, but when you hear about his history, you read about what he's been through both on and off the field, and then you see the passion that he pitches with. Impossible combination to not pull for. In the air to center, Puig and Peterson came together. Peterson's ball, but Puig took it, and Jock not entirely pleased about it.
It's not really a 50-50 ball, and the captain is the center fielder, and Yasiel almost apologizing with that look as Jock pulls away. Glad there's not a collision here with only a game after this one before opening day.
Back to the top, Yunel Escobar, and here comes Kenley Jansen. They have pitching back-to-back days here. Same thing as Luis Avilan, and a tune-up for when it matters.
Kenley was the last Dodger pitcher pitching the 8th last night. The Angels didn't need to have a 9th. He would have pitched the 9th if the Dodgers wouldn't have been up. But here, pitching him a little earlier, give him a little more rest before opening day. Sure, he'll be off tomorrow, and then the off day before opening day gives him 2 days rest after his first back-to-back outings of the year. I thought the WBC was really good for Kenley when it came around and he joined Team Netherlands. Gave him a little more of the intensity. He got to go to Dodger Stadium kind of 3/4 of the way through spring training. Had a nice outing there and really got him focused on what he needs to do to be ready for this year.
Puig hustling hard after that one, but runs out of room.
And he didn't bump into Jock Peterson on the ball that was caught, but he bumped into the wall there.
Yeah, we'd prefer that.
And nobody gets hurt, including Yasiel.
Jansen to Escobar with an 0-2. And he got him.
One of the weapons that Kenley can show is that slider that he has really grown to like over the last couple years. When he starts to see teams like this, like the Angels, in back-to-back nights, he can pull out a mystery pitch that they haven't seen. I think he threw 9 out of 9 cutters last night, 8 for strikes. And then to pull the slider out of his back pocket and fool them completely.
Base is empty, 2 gone, and Cole Calhoun. Strike 1. Both these guys signed new deals this offseason. Calhoun, a 3-year contract worth $26 million. It's an extension of his current deal. For Kenley Jansen, of course, 5 years, $80 million. And word is that both the Marlins and the Nationals offered more. Kenley admitted that he was close to choosing Washington, but at the last minute decided that he couldn't imagine not being with the Dodgers. Said that he feels at home with the Dodgers and didn't want to leave home. All kind of came down at his wedding in Curacao. Justin Turner was there. Puig was there. Van Slyke was there. And they didn't even talk much baseball until the morning of the wedding. They were in Jansen's room. The barber was there getting them all lined up, getting them sharp for the wedding. And that's when they first started discussing it. It was the barber that brought it up. What are you guys going to do? And so that opened the conversation in that hotel room. And Turner told Kenley later that night that he'd agreed to a deal. It had just happened that day. Calhoun down swinging. Very next day, while Turner had hopped over to the next island after the wedding, he saw a tweet that Kenley had agreed to the same.
In May, and Friday night fireworks presented by Denny's April 14th with music to the Billy Joel's greatest hits. Around those fireworks, purchase both a concert ticket and a game ticket against Arizona for one special price of $49.50. Visit Dodgers.com/Billy Joel Night.
So get you tuned up with the music April 14th. Then in May, he actually comes to Dodger Stadium. J.C. Ramirez into the game for the Angels with the Dodgers in front 1-0 beginning the 6th.
I've starred my calendar for both. I'm doing both.
Okay, we're going to do it from the booth. Hang up.
Oh, we're going to be on the road. They just
we
told us from the truck.
Yeah. And now our producer, Mike Levy, lets us know they don't usually play baseball games and concerts at the same time on the field. So appreciate that info, Mike Levy. You're right, though. That would be.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to watch the video now.
Yeah. Turner's accounted for the only run of the game, a long home run back in the 4th inning.
After that snafu, we might have the night off.
And the air to center for Trout. Turner's the first out. Can you believe it's here?
Opening day?
Yeah.
So close?
Yeah.
I was drafted in 1979. My first opening day was 1984 in the big leagues. And every year they still feel special, even not being in uniform.
How about that first opening day?
Oh my gosh. Every opening day ceremony, because you get a few every year, because you might have your home opener, of course. You get that one every year, but then you might open in 2 or 3 other ballparks where you get to stand along the line. They have the flyover, the bunting's out, and there's a buzz every time you get to stand along the first or third baseline and stand there for the national anthem and the pomp and circumstance. Usually somebody great or a Hall of Famer comes out and throws the first pitch. And yeah, it takes you back to Little League. Takes you back to why you love the game and how special it is to stand on that line.
Ramirez to Gonzalez with a 2-1, 2-2.
Did you ever go to an opening day as a fan?
No. No.
I've been to one as a fan, Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
When I was 12 years old. My biggest memory of going to an opening day that day was walking the concourse. The ramps in that day at Tiger Stadium were on the outside of the stands, so as you walk the ramps you don't get to see the field. You're just trudging up the ramps with your mom or your dad or whoever you're going with, and your thighs are getting tired and you're getting burned. You know, they're burning, and you finally get to go out, and then you find your number on the row that you get to walk to go see the field. And then as you come up the tunnel of the row that you're going to be in and you get to go find your seat, the green grass of the outfield starts to appear, and then the brown dirt of the infield, and then the mound, and then the whole field is in front of you before you get to your seat. And that for me was the most amazing image as a little boy, to see the field from that second deck, third deck, after walking all that way up, and then the tunnel, and then the field just appearing before your very eyes.
It was my first experience too. Tiger Stadium, the same way. Yeah.
I'll remember that the rest of my life. Little league fields weren't always quite manicured the way the big league field was, and to see that beautiful grass, that expanse of perfectly mowed grass and flawless infield was just, oh my gosh, someday I'd love to play there.
It's its own shade of green, the big league field. Gonzalez able to lay off and earn a walk here against Ramirez.
One of the most remarkable things I remember about big league players was watching them play catch before the game started, and how far they could throw the ball to each other accurately without even moving. Because as a 12-year-old, when you're playing catch with all your buddies, and how many times does the ball get away and the guy has to run way out to left field to go get it before you can keep playing catch? And you're watching big leaguers throw the ball, you know, 150, 180 feet on a line to each other, and they don't even take a step to catch the ball.
Softly hit by Grandal, but foul.
And you remember at Tiger Stadium in those days where the pitchers warmed up?
I do vividly, because one of my very first games, we were right down there for a warm-up, and Roger Clemens rolled my dad a baseball, and of course my dad kept it and didn't give me anything. Kidding, he gave me the ball. So I had a Roger Clemens baseball that he rolled to us right there.
But they warmed up like right down there, right close to the fans.
Yeah.
And it absolutely amazing to be that close to big league pitchers and see how hard they throw it.
Grandal the other way with a fly ball that Maben runs under, and back to first goes Gonzalez. I still have this vivid memory of my dad yelling, "Roger, Roger," and him rolling the ball over.
Wow. Well, those same memories are going to be created at Dodger Stadium. Some little boys and little girls are going to go to their first Dodger game on opening day and start to gather those memories and fall in love with this great game.
I know you and I will never forget our first opening day up in the booth Monday. Jock Peterson, strike one.
And what an honor to for you and for me to be the first home voices after Mr. Vin Scully retires.
Yeah,
he is going to be missed tremendously.
And we will talk plenty about Vin as time rolls on, and we have plenty to this point in the offseason, different media outlets, but worth saying again, nobody's ever replacing Vin Scully. Other than 2 on Peterson. Blocked by Perez, ball 1.
You really take a step back and think about the responsibility.
That's the word. Yep. Peterson down swinging. And I know I speak for both of us when I say we don't take that responsibility lightly at all.
Chris Hatcher, really his goal this year is to do an effective job in the middle of the bullpen and maybe grow back into that 8th inning role, something the Dodgers are hoping for also. So many components down there in the bullpen that can really blossom this year, and it could end up being just a huge bullpen by committee with a lot of flexibility in the roles, just like we see with the lineup.
And they're going to make him earn his performance tonight. Trout, Pujols, the first 2 that he'll face. And here was a spot where Chris Hatcher benefited from being out of minor league options, didn't perform well during spring training, but a few guys that did have those options and were sent to AAA as a result. So here's Chris Hatcher with a great opportunity to prove that he belongs.
That's the way you, as a modern front office, really massage your roster, and you maneuver around all the different ways that you can control players. And the players look for ways to bust through and knock out the champs, and sometimes the champs are only labeled because they don't have options. It allows you to keep the depth in your roster throughout the 40-man roster.
And it's probably not even totally right to say he's trying to prove he belongs, because it's been proven before. He's trying to prove that he can recapture that proof. One and two on Mike Trout.
I was chatting with Cody Bellinger, one of the top prospects of the Dodgers, plays first base and outfield. He had an at bat last night where he kind of swung himself into the ground. There's a nice split finger from Chris Hatcher right there as he sped Mike Trout out with the fastball and then got him with the breaking ball. What Cody and I talked about was about, you know, this is the same stuff as I see in AAA or in AA, but it's way more consistent. And relating that to a Mike Trout and his greatness and consistency, and the struggles of a Chris Hatcher in his lack of consistency. Chris Hatcher throws the ball hard enough, he breaks it well enough and sharp enough. It's really at this level about consistency.
Starts Pujols with a strike. Dave Roberts said it. And he said Hatcher knows it. But the pitch mix is elite. The stuff that he has is elite. It's just a matter of actually performing. That's nothing that Chris Hatcher doesn't know. A beach ball gets on the field for the second night in a row. And for the second night in a row, Puig will go grab it.
Yeah, the equation that Cody Bellinger and I were talking about, he said, you know, in the minors, even when a guy has great stuff, you still get 2 or 3 good pitches to hit. And you put a swing on one where you followed it back, but you get another one, and that's the one you square up, and you have a good night. Here, you maybe get 1, maybe 2 in at bat.
Pujols with a skyscraper caught by Peters or by Van Slyke.
So if a pitcher's ratio gets to, you give a guy 2 or 3 pitches to hit, or the hitter ratio is I only get 1 or 2 to hit, that's the difference between a successful big leaguer on the offensive side or a successful big leaguer on the defensive side of pitching.
There is Bellinger, who clearly is in the game now at first. Van Slyke in center, as you just saw, and Franklin Gutierrez now in left. Ball 1 on Jeffrey Marte. Dodgers are out away from holding the Angels off of the board through 6 innings for the second night in a row. It was the 7th inning last night where the Angels got their 3 runs and a 3-2 win.
It's been a while in the Freeway Series since the Dodgers won a game here.
Unbelievable. 2003. 16 games in a row here without winning. 0-14-2. And the last 16 exhibition games in this ballpark against the Angels. 1-2, and Hatcher with a chance to build some momentum in this outing heading into the regular season.
When you've lacked consistency and execution, it is huge to have some good outings going into the regular season. You remember with the Dodgers, Pedro Baez with the hand injury on his throwing hand and has been throwing bullpens and getting more and more healthy, and so you know Pedro will be ready in probably a couple weeks if he doesn't have any setbacks. So on the horizon, there's going to be competition for these bullpen jobs.
Soft contact. Hatcher's got it. Marte hustling. Low throw gets it. 1-2-3 through the heart of the order for Chris Hatcher. Encouraging sign for a guy the Dodgers hope can bounce back. MLB.com at-bat mobile app. You can stay connected to the game's best players all season long with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, and plenty more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Cam Bedrosian comes into the game. It was a really good arm for them last season and figures to begin this year as the closer because Houston Street will be on the DL.
A young man that really now has an opportunity, and when you get that opportunity, you want to take advantage of it. So I'm not sure he's scared at all about this. I think he's looking at it as this could be the thing that turns my career and starts it headed in the right direction. Prove that you can handle the 9th inning. It's not here in an exhibition game, but they're getting him ready for it.
It's the bottom third of the Dodger order here in the 7th with Chase Utley. Cam's father, Steve, is the answer to the trivia question: who won a Cy Young the year before you did? Steve Bedrosian, 87 Cy Young Award winner. Ball 1 on Chase Utley. He's with the Phillies.
89 the year after, another reliever, Mark Davis.
One and one.
Steve Bedrosian, a little bigger stature than his son, a little different mechanics, a little more of a low 3/4 arm angle.
Utley to first. That's Marte. Bullpen, one of the concerns for the Angels. Rotation a concern as well. So I guess pitching across the board. Questions for Mike Scioscia.
Right there off his left hip was Charlie Nagy, pitching coach. Charlie had some really big years in Cleveland in 95, 96, 97 when the Indians were so good there. They returned to the World Series last year.
Strike 1 on Puig. You like him again to go back?
I like him again anytime when Tito Francona's over there managing. I love Terry.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
He still likes his team very much.
He's a guy like Dave Roberts where good luck finding someone to say a bad thing about him.
Exactly. Dave doesn't have quite as many wardrobe malfunctions as Terry Francona has had.
No.
I worked with him on Sunday Night Baseball in his very first Sunday Night Baseball game. He forgot his suit pants, so he had to run across to like a Kohl's across from our hotel and buy a suit. About 15 minutes before we're going to go on the air, he goes into the men's room and he comes out and he's holding his pants together. The zipper had busted.
Wow.
They had to duct tape his pants together to go on his first Sunday Night Baseball open. Terry always seems to have one thing a day that kind of goes awry.
That's funny. Puig fooled 1 and 2.
I'll probably get a text from him saying thanks for telling that story.
In the World Series with the Red Sox 04 and 07. This will be his 5th year with the Indians now. Puig offered, strike 3.
One of the calls, of course, that cannot be reviewed by replay.
Two outs for Hernandez. You see the kind of life Bedrosian stuff has on it. Fastball has the illusion of rising.
And that illusion is just because it doesn't go down as much as the other fastballs that get hit by gravity.
And what StatCast has taught us is that those are high spin rate fastballs. 1-1.
And the spin being at a higher rate means the seams then are cutting more air and making the ball fly truer and straighter, and makes the air a little lighter, so the ball gets through quicker and doesn't go down as much.
Towering fly to short left off of the batter Hernandez, and Ben Revere, fresh into the game, comes in to make the catch. Stretch time in Anaheim with the Dodgers lead 1-0. Primarily the setup man, and that is usually a 1-inning role. In his role now, I need to give the Dodgers a little bit more than that, and attempting to show him he's capable of doing that from day one here. As he enters his second inning and faces Ben Revere. Delivers strike one. Revere's first season with the Angels. Over from Washington, just like Danny Espinosa, starting at second base for Anaheim. 1-1. Revere, I'm sorry, Earl, had his worst season last year. Opening day, his very first swing, torn oblique. And spent the first month on the disabled list. Finally recovered, but recovering from an oblique injury and really being recovered from that oblique injury are different things, and he struggled all year. Career .295 hitter, Ben Revere. Hit .217 in his only season in Washington. Now in his 8th year with his 5th team. I hope that he can bounce back in what will be less than an everyday role, with Cameron Maben making most of the starts in left. And I'm not sure he's going to crack center field too often on this team with Mike Trout. Revere flies it to center, and Van Slyke has it.
You know, Joe, we've mentioned the flexibility in the Dodger roster and lineup. So remember when Jerry Davis was over at first and Yasiel Puig did the little dance step off and on, and he gave that new signal like he pushed him off. Well, now Jerry's down there at third, not bumping first and giving the signal to the bullpen. So these umpires are in spring training, kind of rotating around, covering different bases.
It's going to do it for half. Out of the middle of nowhere, made his debut in St. Louis in a 16-inning game, pitched the 11th and 12th innings of that game, and was so important for this team once he arrived.
He sure was, and he has not struggled on the mound at all. He took those outings right through the playoffs and was a big part of the Dodger bullpen. And his only problem now, Joe, is finding a place to rent for the summer that will handle his Great Dane. His wife Corey's dog and his dog, and there's not too many apartments and condos that'll take a Great Dane.
Especially not in Los Angeles. Not like the typical place is particularly roomy.
I was talking to him about the transition and making the roster opening day and then everything, and I said, so where are you going to live? And he said, oh, it's going to be a struggle.
Let's go down to the dugout where Alana Rizzo has Logan Forsythe.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. The glove work in that second inning belonging to you. Two great defensive plays behind Rich Hill. When you're able to do something like that and you know that you're saving your pitch or some extra pitches, what kind of charge does that get you?
That's what you want as a defender. Make plays for your guys. I mean, and over the long haul, you see guys go deeper into the game. You see that pitch count and stay down. So, to make some plays for Rich, it was good to see. I was just glad to get some balls at third tonight.
You almost had an opportunity for a fourth at-bat in this game. Where are you at offensively as we get ready to open the season on Monday?
Past couple of days, not so good. I was a little in between. I've put some good swings on some pitches, but credit to their staff. They've made some quality pitches. But, just getting back. I know what I need to do. Kind of, slow things down, get a little bit more fluid. But as of right now, I'm feeling good. Recognizing pitches really well. And just trying to be the best I can for this team.
Tomorrow, likely the starting 8 going to be together for the first time of spring. Corey Seager back in the lineup. How excited are you to have him at the shortstop position and kind of a good dry run as you guys get ready to do this all season?
Yeah, I'm pumped. To get him back out there on the field, I'm just happy that he's healthy. He's going to be there for opening day. I know he was a little kind of nervous at first, but spring didn't go like we wanted to. We had plans to do a lot of work, but we talked a lot, and I'm looking forward to it.
Appreciate your time, Logan. Thank you.
Thanks, Logan.
All right, guys.
All right. He is
During the interview, it looks like Logan's trying to get away from it, but they're down in the close end of the dugout right there where there's no protection, and it's a right-handed hitter, so he's glancing over every pitch to make sure they're not going to get hit with a foul ball. That's why he kept turning to his right. They're right there by Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt, and you see Alana down there behind the glass now where she's protected.
What a seat for Alana. Alana, what a seat you have down there.
That I agree with, but don't think for 1 second that I don't actually ask and beg the players to protect me when we have certain batters on the side. I don't have cat-like reflexes like a Logan Forsythe does. So I'm like, please just keep your eye on the ball. I don't care if it looks like you're ignoring me. I'd rather be ignored, or at least an appearance of being ignored, than getting drilled in the face by a baseball.
Yeah, there is no time to react in a dugout when the ball comes in there. It's just pretty much like a lottery. It's see who gets the ticket.
One of the Giants coaches during spring training took a line drive to the head. Was sitting, you know, in Scottsdale they have him sitting outside the dugout, and I mean, you look at it and it's like, that can't be safe. I remember thinking that when we were there March 1st. He's okay. I haven't checked the story recently, but I know that he left the hospital, and everything's okay with him. But man, yeah, you're right. There's no time to react in the dugout, let alone when you're sitting in play. Alana?
Well, the same can be said, Guy, for our camera well positions, because I always try to hide behind a wall to try to add some protection away from the ball. I've been hit 3 different times with the ball, 1 time with the bat. All the times I've been hit with the ball, I wonder if this is a coincidence, all in the San Francisco Giants visiting dugout. One off of an overthrown ball at first that came into the dugout, hit the steps, and hit me in the head. Another couple of times coming into that camera well, ricocheting off of a camera. Not a good time.
Doesn't sound like it. Here's Eric Mejia making the catch and finishing the inning. We go to the 8th in Anaheim. Careful down there. Work. Joe Davis, Or Hershiser, and Alana Rizzo back here in Anaheim. And a guy that was once signed by Andrew Friedman, the Tampa Bay system. Debuted in the majors with the Yankees, now finds himself on the Angels roster.
Well, back-to-back for Kirby as the Dodger relievers get back-to-backs with Avilan and Jansen, and Chris Hatcher not a back-to-back, but going 4 outs. And Kirby Yates at 30 years old, getting himself ready for the opening of the season.
Kirby grew up not just in Hawaii, but in Kauai, which is the Garden Island. And not a ton of people actually live there, but his dad moved over there. Went there, I believe, on vacation. Stayed there. Had Kirby. Grew up on the Garden Island. It's almost exclusively a vacation island. Eric Mejia leads off this inning for the Dodgers and takes a strike.
Played in the Pacific Coast League for a couple of years, and the Dodger team out of Albuquerque would get to go over and play the Hawaiian Islanders.
That's a fair ball for Mejia down into the right field corner. He makes the turn and holds on. So a leadoff double here in the 8th.
Well, Mejia hits it inside that third baseline. Look at that smile right there. Boy, the double flap helmet that they wear in the minor leagues. And boy, he doesn't run like a minor leaguer. After this one scoots down the line, he scoots around the bags. He had a chance for 3. Angels did a good job getting it in quickly.
So Franklin Gutierrez now. Gutierrez looks at a strike. Just checking here on Kauai. There's 67,000 residents on the entire island. He's from Lahui, which is where the main airport is. They're going to go vacation in Kauai. 6,000 people live there. There's an 0-1 to Gutierrez, and it's fouled off. His brother pitched in the majors as well, Tyler Yates. Kirby revived his career after missing 2 full seasons while he was in college because of Tommy John. So went undrafted and then signed with Tampa Bay, climbed the ladder, made his debut, then with the Yankees, now with the Angels. Ball 1 on Gutierrez.
It's always interesting to me, the guys that come from small towns, that, you know, you're a big fish in a small town, but all of a sudden then you get exposed to larger populations of players, and just the impact that it is to even go out on a field to a tryout and to see, you know, 30 pitchers standing on the mound, and you're thinking, I've got to become 2 or 3 of those guys. And the character and the strength that it takes to look at the odds right in front of you after coming from a small town and continuing to pursue it and not back down.
Just inside, 2-2.
You had a little bit of that.
It's nice of you all.
College quarterback.
You said college quarterback, and Mike Lever, our producer, got in our ear and said, video is cued.
I didn't know they had video of that.
It just made me think my wife would tell you it's always cued for when our friends come over. Showing the highlight film.
Is that what I have to look forward to after opening day when we come over for the barbecue?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's not a barbecue, it's just a highlight film watching party. Gutierrez yanks one just foul. Doing something here that he's not going to do much during the regular season, and that is bat against right-handed pitching.
A concerted effort by the Dodger front office and Dave Roberts to improve against lefties. And this is an integral part of that.
High drive to deep right center. And that ball is off the top of the wall. Mejia had to wait to make sure that it was down, and he'll score on a double from Gutierrez.
Well, that might get him a few more at-bats against righties as the season opens. Mejia did a great job after this ball is blistered off the right center wall by Gutierrez. The double wall rescues this from being a home run. And I'll tell you what, Mejia with his wheels, he was hanging by second base in case he had to tag to get to third. But once Mike Trout turned and saw that that was going off the wall, Mejia took that read and took off and scored easily.
So back-to-back doubles against Kirby Yates to start the 8th inning, and it brings up Willie Calhoun, who takes ball one. Two 2-0.
Willie Calhoun in his first big league camp, breakout year in Tulsa, and this 2-0 count here, this youngster is not afraid to cut the bat loose. He can barrel up a lot of baseballs.
Does there, foul. Look out, George Lombard.
You can tell he was cheating a little bit there, 2-0, and pulls that ball foul. Not thinking the middle of the field there at all. He's thinking, I'm going to powder this thing. And with nobody out, getting out in front of that fastball and pulling, it's a good idea to move that runner over to third.
Three and one.
You can impress management and your hitting coach and your manager in a lot of different ways. Of course, driving this run in or hitting a home run would do it. But in this situation, not expanding the strike zone, taking the walk, and also if you get a strike, moving that runner to third.
3-2.
So many parts of the game, so many different opportunities that you get to help your team win. And productive outs is definitely one of them. That chat right there between Dave Roberts and Turner Ward, definitely eyeballing Mr. Calhoun.
Popped up, and this will be caught by Perez.
A learning experience for the young man. Disappointed there, but definitely will be something he can replay in his mind and figure out a way to get the job done later.
So man at second with one gone, and here's Scott Van Slyke. Up, ball one. So the Padres come to town first. Opening day Monday. Yolis Chacin, their opening day starter, against Clayton Kershaw. 2-0.
A healthy Scott Van Slyke will help the Dodgers pick on some left-handed pitching this year. He is another left-handed masher.
Two and one. Yeah, so they went out and acquired Logan Forsythe, and they got Franklin Gutierrez, both pretty good against left-handed pitching. And the other dynamic in play when you're talking about hoping that they improve against left-handed pitching is guys like Van Slyke, who have always hit lefties and were either not healthy or didn't hit lefties last year. Justin Turner, Kike Hernandez. You expect that they regress back to where they have been their entire careers.
You got the 5 bats right there that really would be the key to the whole turnaround against left-handed pitching out of the pen and starters. And the Dodgers did struggle there. You take it back to even the Cubs series when they got knocked out against John Lester.
High drive down the left field line. It's hooking foul, and he knew it. Never did drop the bat.
It's good to see Scott back in there tonight. We saw him take a few awkward swings last night. We weren't sure he didn't hurt himself, but he came back after those awkward swings, played some defense, and then back in here tonight, turning on that ball. There are no aches or pains in that body.
Yates on 3-2. Van Slyke takes low, ball 4. Good looking plate appearance from Scott Van Slyke. Puts runners at first and second for Yasmani Grandal. Chase, strike 1.
Well, Yates' off-speed pitch there, that really just great arm action. That ball just buries. That's the pitch he got Calhoun to pop out on, and right there, that one went down even more. Got Yasmani to swing and miss. Another one right there at 88, getting him out front.
Hit it hard his last time to the warning track and left. You were pointing out during batting practice today a couple of the balls that he was hitting. You said the hardest ball to hit, and that is like the straightaway opposite field slicing homer.
Yeah, and he was hitting a few of them in every round. He was locked in. That was the swing right there. The trajectory of that foul ball, if he squares that up, he's hitting that to left center and hitting it really hard. You see him working that feeling of that top hand to get through that ball. Yasmani very good from the left side at lifting and elevating the low pitch.
A little bit late on that one. 94 on the fastball, and it stays 0-2.
Good job fighting off the high cheese right there. A lot of times when you're really good at hitting that low fastball or low off speed pitch as a left-handed hitter in your sweet spot, the place pitchers will then attack is up and in or up over the middle. Did a good job fighting that one off, looking for one he can whoop on.
Years old, Yasmani Grandal was born in Cuba, moved to the United States when he was 10, settled in Miami. His mom entered the family in a lottery that allowed them to immigrate legally to the United States. On 0-2, Grandal pulls a liner to right. Calhoun is there.
That's a good at bat right there. Scott Van Slyke had a good at bat, even though it ended in a walk. Tracked the ball well and set up the rest of this inning. And Yasmani battled him right there, and fought off some good pitches, and then got the barrel on one. Just unfortunate. Found the right fielder.
Another couple days before it stops being okay that it was a good bat, right? When you head back to the dugout, you're fine with the result right now. Less fine when it affects your numbers.
Yeah, you could get some equipment tossing
right.
if you hit a lot of loud outs in the regular season. Right now, you feel real satisfied and ready.
Cody Bellinger's first debut of the night. Top power prospect in the minors. Takes strike one. Top prospect in the Dodgers system. Like we've talked about a couple times this spring, the personality to match.
There are quite a few of the young guys that came over from the minor league side in the first big league camps that really were impressive with their character and their poise, their makeup. Think back to Trevor Oakes, the pitching prospect, of giving a concert with the piano in the middle of the locker room. And Cody did a backstage feature that you can see on our station where he wore a microphone one day, and most of the sound was not from him but from the veterans kind of ripping on him and hazing him as a rookie. But he handled it all very well.
How about that? Shoots it through the opening on the left side with the overshift on. And the top power prospect out there shows that he's much more than that. It's 3-0.
We talked earlier in the game that Cody and I chatted about his strikeout and the ability to get a pitch in the big leagues and actually barrel it up, because you don't get quite as many at the big league level as you do in the minors. And right there, got a pitch that was slightly up on their outer half. Saw that he could beat the shift with it and did a nice job not trying to do too much. A young player would maybe try and pull that ball, but he barreled it up and hit it firmly to the opening.
And it turns into a double and turns into the end of Kirby Yates' night.
And Cody Bellinger chatting it up with Chris Woodward and Scott Van Slyke. Smile all night. on the left last night's swing where he struck out and really was over swinging and trying to pull the ball. Watch him collapse, almost a left-handed Adrian Beltre. But tonight, staying a little bit more balanced, staying on the pitch and driving it the opposite way, keeping his balance. A good lesson learned. And this afternoon when we were chatting before BP, I kind of chided him about the swing from last night, and he says, I hope I don't do that anymore. But boy, I had a lot of adrenaline running through my body. The only other time he had ever played in a big league stadium like this was in high school at Yankee Stadium. And I said, did you hit any out in BP? And he goes, oh yeah, I hit a few. He said there was a lot less people than there was here last night there.
Somehow he doesn't remember what the game was at Yankee Stadium. You would think if you played in a game as a high schooler at Yankee Stadium, you'd remember exactly what that tournament was. He said, I don't remember.
He said other than friends and family, that's about all there was in Yankee Stadium, so it felt like there was nobody there.
Ball one on Chase Utley from Drew Gagnon. As impressive, Orel, as his long home runs are, that base hit right there, that's equally as impressive. On 1-1, Chase Utley takes strike 2. Two and 2. 6:10 tomorrow night, Dodger Stadium.
I'm going to be there early because I want to see the new booth.
How about it? We got to get in there and get it set up.
Yeah, I think I'll be there around lunchtime.
Wow.
Doing a little transfer of my own tomorrow.
I hear moving from the west side to the east side.
Yeah, we're moving to Pasadena, get closer to the stadium.
Utley shoots it on the ground is short, picked up by Williams, a high throw, but Marte corrals and ends the inning. Dodgers get a pair in the frame and lead 3-0 to the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers here in the bottom of the 8th. You used to seeing him in blue yet?
I am not, but I am glad he is in blue because he has had an outstanding spring. Little tenderness here and there, but he is ready to go. And boy, his slider has been very accurate. He's got a new weapon to surprise some hitters with. He's worked on his changeup and the fastball command. This guy, when he's on, he can just dial it up. He's almost like a video game pitcher.
10th major league season, first 9 with the Giants. Carlos Perez, the man that sees him first in the 8th, and takes ball 1.
He has a ball energy out there and in the locker room and on the bus and anywhere he goes. He's kinetic. I know he's a pitcher, but he reminds me a little bit of Steve Sachs. Steve was a ball energy. Frisbee for a strike.
He's thrown that slider more and more as the years have gone on and his fastball velocity's gone down. It's popped up left side. Eric Mejia. Of course, he spent the first 9 years wearing a Giants uniform, but he grew up a diehard Dodger fan and a family full of them. It's a great story about early on in his time with the Giants in a game at Dodger Stadium. He left tickets for his friends and family. A whole group of them showed up in Dodger blue while he's pitching for the Giants. And after the game down in the tunnel, Bruce Bochy and Brian Sabian, the GM, saw the Giant group in Dodger blue greet Romo when he walks out of the clubhouse. And they told him they can put that Dodger gear in the closet while you're a Giant. Don't let that happen again. One and one on Yunel Escobar.
You have to remember that when people wear clothing from the opposite team in the family section of the tickets. So
right.
Usually when visiting teams get tickets, they get a general section. You have to be sensitive when you have family members that are rooting for the opponent.
Grew up going to games at Dodger Stadium. His very first trip to a major league game was when he was 11. Sat in the left field corner right next to the foul pole. On 2-1. Just misses. 3 balls and a strike.
Just a hair off. The eye-hand coordination of Sergio Romo. The guys that can really throw strikes on the edges of the plate. It's absolutely amazing how they can make adjustments and get that ball back on the plate right on the edge.
Like that.
Right there. The rhythm, the body control, the mind control to get out of the way of yourself and just let that athletic ability, that eye-hand coordination come through. I've been around a few, you know, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, Kenny Rogers, guys that can just make that 1 or 2 inch adjustment 60 feet 6 inches away.
Good take by Escobar, ball 4.
That was a very good take by Escobar because it wasn't on the edge where it was going to be borderline. Sergio threw it right down the middle and said, I'm going to give you the width, but I'm going to take the height and make the ball go low. So here, you take the width, I'll throw it down the middle, but he didn't take the bait.
Pinch runner comes on for Escobar as Cole Calhoun bats. Former Arizona State Sun Devil Cole Calhoun. It's an 8th round pick. It's never really a highly rated prospect, but only took him 2 years to make the majors. Mike Scioscia has compared him to the Penguin, to Ron Cey, a guy that got the most out of His stocky frame, bit of a late bloomer. He's never much of a highly touted guy. There's a story that before Cole Calhoun arrived at Arizona State, the head coach there, longtime head coach Pat Murphy, had told his staff, look, we got too many Tarzans on the roster right now. The great athletes who just can't seem to hit. On the ground is second. They get one. They get two. We'll finish that story on the other side of this break. Romo faces the minimum in the 8th, and it's 3-0 Dodgers. Has Sergio Romo.
And he's looking for that red light, waiting for that camera to come on. You're showing some emotion coming off the field. What was that pitch? Is that changeup that you were working on in winter ball? Tell us about that one.
Yeah, well, the last one's a changeup. You know, I've been working on it. You know, need to add to the arsenal. Can always improve. You know, and that was one of the areas that I struggled with was my changeup. So been making some pretty solid progress in today. I mean, was able to get a double play out of it, so I'm happy.
Yeah, facing the minimum, what has this spring been like for you, and are you ready to go? Because the next time you pitch, it's going to be likely at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. You know, spring training's been great. All the guys on the team, they've been more than unbelievable with me. They've been amazing. The way they accepted me and they've just let me be myself. I couldn't ask for a better situation coming into that I'm coming into with this team. So all in all, I'm excited to get to Dodger Stadium to play in front of the Dodger faithful and put on that white jersey. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for it. It's around the corner.
How much have you thought about that moment?
I believe it or not, I've thought about it for a lot. I got a chance to wear it for the first time a couple days ago, and I was really excited about it. The little kid in me was really happy. But here we are, Southern Cal native, Southern Cal boy, and playing for a Southern Cal team again. So I'm excited for it.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
That's what's up.
All right.
All right.
That's what's up.
Thanks, Alana. Thanks, Sergio. It's his personality, I think, is going to make it a lot easier for Dodger fans to get over the fact that he's been with the mortal enemy the last 9 years.
It took him about 5 minutes to win me over in spring training when I first met him.
One ball and 2 strikes on Puig. This is Blake Parker, who's in the game now pitching. We saw him last night strike out the side and is now retired each of the last 14 batters via the strikeout. I think he's going to make the team.
That's a pretty good end to your spring. An 84-mile-an-hour split right there, and behind that is a blazing fastball. And got a little quirkiness in his delivery here as he gets on the rubber, looks in for the sign and comes set. Looks very reliever-ish.
Puig hammers it foul. Still 2-2. Ramon Flores in the game and right, replacing Cole Calhoun. We started to tell you the story about Calhoun's eventual head coach at Arizona State, Pat Murphy, thought they had too many great athletes that couldn't hit. And in a staff meeting, Murphy told his guys, look, can't we find some short, red-headed, short-arm guy? Because I've never seen a short, red-headed, short-arm guy that can't hit. Pat Murphy told his group. Puig goes down swinging. The next day, an assistant posted a headshot of Cole Calhoun to his door in his office and said, Coach, I promise he's not taller than 5'8". And they went out and recruited him from Buckeye, Arizona. He became a really great player for Pat Murphy at Arizona State. And his theory held true that there's no such thing as a short, red-headed, short-arm guy that can't hit. Kike Hernandez. Strike one. Somebody just trying to put the ball in play against Parker. 15 consecutive outs recorded via strikeouts for him. Dodger Stadium tomorrow night. Brandon McCarthy and Jesse Chavez, guy who was a Dodger reliever after the trade deadline last year, is going to be the 5th starter for the Angels to open the season. A 1-2, and Hernandez strikes out swing. What is it about this guy? Well, not Kike, but Blake.
Well, the ball is going straight down. The one before that he pulled. He kind of fixed himself by, I got to fall straight down. And you see that ball is just burying where it is. About 15 feet from home plate is the last place that the human eye can pick it up. And if it does something late like that ball, you're going to strike out 16 in a row.
Eric Mejia doubled and scored his only time up, and that thing disappears as well.
Forget about making the team. This might be your closer. I mean, it's hard to strike out 16 in a row in the Little League and then move it up to high school and take it up to college, and now we're talking about in a big league exhibition game. Through Arizona and now here.
It's a guy in Blake Parker that was designated for assignment 3 times in a 2.5-month span this offseason. One and two.
That's the thing about pitching. If you have the arm speed and somebody can tweak your grip, or you can decide to experiment with a pitch, and all of a sudden it becomes part of it, and you can see he starts with the split finger, and if he decides to throw a fastball, he can just go to the natural grip for that, but that's the harder grip for him to get, and he switched it to fastball.
That is an absurd 17 consecutive strikeouts for Blake Parker, and nobody wanted him this winter. New pitcher for the Dodgers. Drafted a couple of years ago in the 23rd round. And impressed last year. Really rough rookie pro season. Had an ERA above 8 in rookie ball, but in 18 games last year between rookie ball and A ball, his ERA was under 1.
Andrew Isler has impressed and got an opportunity to come over to the big league side. Actually was put into a program designed by the Dodger minor league staff and a couple of the doctors on that side, a heavy ball program to try and increase velocity, and got a big step up in velocity and in being able to then spin the ball, and those strides have given him an opportunity to open some eyes up on the big league staff.
That's one of the things explored in the book we got to get you to read. The Arm by Jeff Passan. Ball 1 on Ramon Flores.
Andrew's velocity jumped up about 5 miles an hour. He was a guy that could touch 87, 88, but now he can throw harder than that. Also got stronger on the lower half.
The first noteworthy guy to really buy into that method of training with the heavy balls is Trevor Bauer in Cleveland. Former UCLA Bruin. There's a 2-1, and there's strike 2. Isler's 2-2 pitch. Sharply hit. Went right to Bellinger.
One thing with Andrew, he is not scared. Confidence comes with a little bit of velocity, and success even breeds more confidence.
Eric Young Jr. Shattered bat. Impressive stuff from Isler. 2 away.
Gets in on his hands right there, and that bat is not long for the world after that swing, but also that pitch.
And so Isler trying to work a 1-2-3 ninth inning to wrap things up. You get credit for a save in the Freeway Series. Jeffrey Marte, all that stands between him and that. Strike 1. And the long nightmare is about to end. The exhibition game drought here for the Dodgers goes all the way back to 03. 14-2 in the last 16 exhibition games at Anaheim for the Dodgers. Doesn't matter one bit, but it is weird. Marte, fair ball. No. Have I jinxed it? He's got himself a double.
Whatever you do, don't check Twitter, because you might have jinxed it on Twitter. There are a few that will tell you you did, and you're not allowed to look at that until you get home tonight. And Marte pulls it down the line and gives the Angels hope to keep their streak alive. And it's a streak that probably none of their players know about.
Oh, Ben Revere trying to keep the line moving, trying to get the tying run to the plate here in the ninth. By the way, UConn's women's team had their streak snapped tonight in the Final Four. 111 game winning streak ended by Mississippi State. They're burning down Starkville right now. Yeah, word is Gino Auriemma has been fired. Kidding. It's Mike Levy's joke. I used it.
You shouldn't have.
I thought it was all right. 2-0. 2-1. A blooper to left, and that's a base hit that'll snap the shutout. RBI single for Ben Revere. It's 3-1. And Anaheim brings a tying run to the plate.
Keep throwing strikes, Andrew. That's just baseball probabilities right there. That one finding a hole. Try and get this one in the books right here. Keep attacking.
Ray Navarro, the hitter. And Itzler's first pitch to him is in the dirt and blocked well by Austin Barnes, who hit a home run last night. Opening day roster is the backup to Yasmani Grandal. Itzler with a 1-0, and Navarro, the runner taken off, takes a strike. And it's 1-1. Defensive indifference allowing Revere to take second. A 2-1 pitch. 2-2, and the Dodgers a strike away from even in this series up. And again, it's McCarthy tomorrow against Chavez at Dodger Stadium. The final spring training game before opening day Monday with the Padres in town. Starting a 4-game series, Clayton Kershaw making his 7th opening day start in a row. Fly ball to left, and this should do it. For the first time since '03, the Dodgers win an exhibition game in Anaheim. 3-1. The final score as Itzler wraps things up.
Nice feeling to get a W. Go back to Dodger Stadium now for the first time this year. It's an exhibition game, but go with a good feeling.
That does it from Angels Stadium. Final score, Dodgers 3, Angels 1, getting a run in the 4th on a Justin Turner homer. And adding 2 in the 8th inning, holding on in the 9th. Be back with you tomorrow for leadoff LA at 5. Brandon McCarthy for the Dodgers, Jesse Chavez for the Angels. Let's throw to Access Sportsnet, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealer. One more tune-up before opening day.